I had a mallard duck nesting near the area where I burn my trash once a week, and I felt really bad about disturbing that duck. So I waited for a half hour. The duck never came back, so I knew she wasn't going to come back. So I went and I bought a still air incubator for the eggs, and I'm turning the eggs every 2 hours or so. And if this doesn't work out, or even when I get done with these eggs, I'm going to use this for my queen cells. If you have extra queen cells, rather than putting them in a hive, you could put them in an incubator. You could set the temperature on this. Right now it's at 99.5, but you could set it higher. And I'm going to try this out this summer, see how it works. So I'm going to show you some other things. We have a low pressure area over Michigan right now, and honeybees really aren't all that smart. They know the air pressure, they know when storms are coming, and they're supposed to stay in the hive. But I've got bees all over, and probably later this afternoon I could probably come out here and gather them all up, because it's not going to warm up today. The sun's not going to come out, and it bothers me to have these bees out like this. Just like during the winter, they come out and they end up in the snow. During the summer and spring, they can do the same thing. They end up out of the hive. They're chilled. They can't fly to get back in the hive. Nurse bees don't know how to fly automatically when they come out of the hive. They're not really strong flyers, and a lot of them don't make it back in the hive. And if you look over here, I've got the same thing out here. There's bees all along the concrete there. So I will be out there picking them up today, putting them in my container. See, I put an opening in here, then it's clear. I can see how many I have, and then I just dump them in my my smallest colonies, because they're nurse bees. And I want to show you something else. Let's take a field trip. I have a lot of videos suggesting that you make your own hive bodies, and this wood here came out of a building that's near me. I don't own the building yet, but it's on delinquent taxes, and when it goes up for sale, I'm thinking about buying it. This is 3/4 board, and I know I use 7/8, but I'm thinking about making a bunch of mediums for my summer mediums that I put on to make honey. And all I gotta do is put the notches in the end and the handles. But let me show you where this stuff is. Let's take a field trip. A 25-year-old truck. Got some heavy flooding today. Farmers are in a hurry to plant, but now most of the fields are all flooded out. I kind of chuckle every time I see a flooded out field. This is my driveway. I have to maintain this culvert. I've replaced it where I put in some extras, but I'm going to have to dig all the way down and replace the older ones, because it'll wash out over the driveway here, and it won't be able to get in and out unless you have 4-wheel drive. But anyway, this building that I'm thinking about buying is an old grain elevator. This is a railroad grade. It was taken out in the 80s, and the railroad probably was here for over 100 years. And because of the decline of the United States, everything that is used to be good for production and transportation has been ripped out. You know, one of my issues with the United States is our government is making this country worse than it was before. This used to be a gas station. Look at that house there. This is the building I'm thinking about buying. Let me get in there real quick and show you why I would want to buy that. See, looks like a third world country, doesn't it? This is an old grain elevator. Got to be very careful when you walk around up here in this building. It's a lot of holes. The roof is gone. See, when the roof goes, the floor goes next. But what I'm after, it depends on how much it costs to buy this. What I'm after is this 3/4 boards here. This is all 3/4. And bear with me, it's not a lot of sunshine right now. See these 3/4 boards? I can make deeps with those. This is basically the old grain bins. Watch me fall through. And it's kind of dark in here right now, but let me go over here. See, the walls are all 3/4. I would have to figure out how much lumber is actually in this building that I could reuse to make deeps. Here's an old stairway. I know it's really dark. I was in here a few years ago and I cleaned out all the coon shit because my father thinks he owns this, but I don't think he does. Let me, this is the way to get up to the grain bin. Now, if I drop this phone in here, my wife is going to be pissed. This is the top of the grain elevator. You used to have, a canvas belt with scoops on it. And they'd bring up the grain and dump it in these grain bins. Now look at all the 3/4 board. It's all 3/4. So I would imagine there's like $1,000, a couple $1,000 worth of lumber in here. So we'll see how much the taxes are. And if they're not paid by the actual owner of this building, I can buy this property. I can tear it apart and reuse all this lumber to build beehives. And then when I get it all torn apart, maybe the foundation will be good to put a couple houses on it. See, this is all 3/4 board. I actually tore this apart 10 years ago. I'm getting sick of looking at it. Every time I go in and out of my property or go home, I have to drive by here. So I'm getting sick of looking at it. I ripped off the metal roof, but underneath this is a good concrete foundation. A person could clean this up and build a single-story house or a double-story house with a crawl space underneath. It's not a full basement. It would be a crawl space. And the same thing over here. Can't get through there. They used to, this is an old scale. They used to weigh bags of grain on it and amounts of grain. They put, the last time they used this place was 1970s. I found some old receipts when I was cleaning it out. This was really filthy 10 years ago, and I cleaned out all the junk. See, this has got a good block basement underneath it, and it's actually got, that would be a full basement right there. But if, like I said, if you let the roof go, the rest of it goes. There, that's all block. A person could build a nice house after he removed all this rotten wood and metal siding. A nice place to park a vehicle. This would all be torn down. There's another old building back there. Decline of the United States. Okay, thank you.